He hasn't played in around a month. Around a month. And Arteta might be about to throw him straight into the most important game of our season. Think about that for a second. Arsenal and Manchester City, level on points. The title is right there. One bad result, one injury, one tactical mistake, one moment of madness, and it could be gone. And we're seriously considering starting a player who hasn't kicked a ball in around a month. Is that confidence? Is that necessity? Or is that desperation, dressed up as boldness? Because honestly, I'm not sure. And I think that's the conversation we need to have today. Not just who starts, but why. And what happens if it goes wrong? Because this isn't just a lineup decision. This is a gamble. And the stakes have never been higher. I'm Amelia, and if you're new here, this channel is where we go deep on Arsenal. Not surface level, not just vibes, real analysis, real opinions, and today, real worry. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because we're doing this for every big match this run-in, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of them. And before we get into it, I want to know what you think, right now, before you hear my lineup. Before any analysis, should Saka start on Saturday? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments because I genuinely want to see where the fan base is on this, and I'll come back to it at the end. Right, let's get into it. Before I even touch the lineup, I need to talk about the problem, because that's where most predicted lineup videos get it wrong. They just list 11 names and call it analysis. That's not analysis, that's a team sheet. What actually matters is, what problem does this lineup need to solve? And Arsenal have a very specific problem right now. They got exposed at City. Not just beaten, exposed. City found gaps that shouldn't have been there. The shape was too passive, too reactive. Arsenal sat back and invited pressure. And when you do that against elite teams, you get punished. Now, Newcastle are not City. But here's the thing that worries me. Newcastle are organized. They are physical. They defend in 2 compact banks of 4. And they are very, very good at absorbing pressure and hitting you on the break. Against a passive Arsenal, that is a dangerous combination. So the system on Saturday cannot be reactive. It has to be proactive. Arsenal need to stretch Newcastle, pull them wide, create overloads, force mistakes. And that changes everything about who should start. You don't just need quality on Saturday, you need width, you need pace, you need players who can go at defenders 1 versus 1 and make something happen from nothing, which is exactly why the Saka question is so central to everything. Because if Arsenal don't have that threat on the right, if that side of the pitch is quiet, Newcastle will just sit in and make it very, very difficult. And we've seen Arsenal struggle to break down low blocks this season. We've seen it. It's not a theory, it's happened. So when people say, should Saka start, what they're really asking is, can Arsenal create enough width and enough danger without him? And honestly, I don't think they can. Not at the level this game demands. But here's the problem, and this is where it gets serious. Achilles injuries are not normal injuries. They are not rest for 2 weeks and you'll be fine injuries. They are unpredictable. They can flare up with no warning. A player can feel completely fine in training, and then, in the 3rd minute of a match, something goes wrong. And if Saka breaks down on Saturday, if he has to come off early, if we lose him for the rest of the season, I don't even want to think about it, but we have to, because that's the risk Arteta is weighing right now. And this is what I keep coming back to. Is starting Saka on Saturday an act of faith in his recovery, or is it an act of desperation because we don't have another option? Because those 2 things look the same from the outside, they feel very different from the inside. If Saka is genuinely ready, if the medical team have cleared him fully, if he's been building back in training and his body feels right, then starting him makes sense. It makes complete sense. He is our best player. He changes games. He creates things out of nothing. But if there's even a 5% doubt, even a small question mark over his fitness, then you have to ask, is this the right call? I'll tell you my honest answer later. But first, There are two other decisions that I think are being completely underestimated. The second one, and I think this is the debate that's going to dominate the week, Havertz or Gyökeres. Now, I know what side of this most Arsenal fans are on right now. People are frustrated with Havertz. They feel like he works hard but doesn't deliver the moments that decide matches. And then you look at Gyökeres, this powerful, direct, goal-hungry striker, and you think, why is he on the bench? And I get it, I really do. But let me push back for a second, because I think the debate is being framed the wrong way. It's not about who's the better striker in theory. It's about who's better for this game, against this opponent, in this moment. Newcastle's centre-backs are physical, they are aggressive, they want to dominate aerial duels. And Havertz, whatever you think of his goal scoring, is a nightmare to defend against in certain systems. He drops deep, he creates confusion, he links play in ways that let Odegaard and the midfielders run forward into space. Gyökeres is more direct, more of a target. He'll hold the ball up and wait for service. Now, here's the question you need to answer before you decide which one you want. What type of game do you think Saturday will be? If Arsenal dominate and create lots of chances, then yes, you want a clinical finisher. You want Gyökeres. But if it's tight, if Newcastle sit in and make it difficult, then you need someone who can create moments from movement, who can drag defenders out of position, who can be a problem in a way that doesn't rely on just scoring. And I genuinely think Saturday will be tight, at least for the first half, which is why I lean towards Havertz. But I'm not completely settled on it. And I'll come back to this when I reveal the lineup. Because this decision, more than any other, could define the result. The third decision, and this one is less talked about, but I think it matters enormously. Gabriel. He had a difficult game at City. He was caught out of position. He was beaten in the air once. And for someone of his quality, that was a surprising performance. Now, there are two ways to read that. One, it was an off day. It happens. Even the best defenders have difficult matches. He'll reset, he'll refocus, and he'll be fine. Two, there's something deeper going on. A confidence wobble. And those can be dangerous in high-pressure moments. Because Newcastle will come for Gabriel. They will target him. Will Asula is physical. He'll make Gabriel's life uncomfortable. He'll try to rattle him. And if Gabriel isn't mentally right, if he's still carrying the weight of the City performance, that's a problem. This is one of those things that's impossible to know from the outside. Only Arteta knows. Only the people in that training ground know what Gabriel's energy has been like this week. But it matters, and we can't just ignore it. Arteta needs to make sure Gabriel walks out on Saturday feeling like himself, not carrying anything from the Etihad. Because if he's uncertain, Newcastle will find it. Now think about this. We've talked about the system. We've talked about the three decisions that could define the match. And what becomes clear, what becomes really clear, is that this Arsenal squad is walking a very thin line right now. There is no margin for error. Not with City level on points, not with the run-in looking the way it does. Every starting 11 decision carries more weight than it normally would because there's no recovery. There's no we'll sort it next week. This is now. And that's why I want to take you through my lineup very carefully. Not just the names, but the thinking, the logic, and the risks. Let's start at the back. David Raya in goal. That's obvious. He's our number one. But I want to say something about Raya that I think needs to be said. He has looked nervous recently, not disastrously so, not in a way that's cost us points directly, but you can see it, the slight hesitation before crosses, the positioning that's been a fraction off, the way he reacts to shots. There's been a tentativeness that wasn't there earlier in the season. And against Newcastle, who are a real threat from set pieces, Raya needs to own his box. He needs to be loud. He needs to command. Because if there's any doubt in that penalty area, Newcastle will exploit it. I'm not saying he'll have a bad game. I'm saying it's something to watch. Right back, Ben White. Timber is still not ready. He hasn't played since March 14th. And I think Arteta will be cautious with him, especially with matches still to come. White gives us more going forward. He can get into advanced positions and create overloads on the right side. That's important for the system. Centre-backs, Saliba and Gabriel. Saliba I have no concerns about. He is absolutely locked in. He'll deal with Osula. Osula is physical but young and inexperienced at this level. Saliba has handled far more difficult opponents. Gabriel, as I said, he starts. He has to. But he needs a big performance. Left back, Piero Hincapié. He has made that position his own. He's calm. He's composed. He reads the game really well. No debate there. Midfield, and this is where I get excited because I genuinely think this midfield, when it's right, is one of the best in the league. Zubimendi at the base. Now, his form dipped badly for a period, and people, including me, started to question whether he was the right fit. But recently, he's been better, much better, more assured, more decisive, and that matters. Because what Zubimendi gives you is control. He breaks up play, he recycles possession, he allows Rice to be more expressive. Speaking of Rice, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Declan Rice is the reason Arsenal are still in this title race. Not Odegaard, not Saka, Rice. He has been relentless. He has run himself into the ground week after week. He has covered more ground than anyone. He has made tackles that others would have missed. He has taken the ball in tight situations under pressure and come out the other side. And there's something about the way he plays right now that feels personal. Like he has decided that he is going to drag Arsenal to the title, and he doesn't care how hard it gets. If Arsenal do win this league, and I still believe they can, Rice will be the most important reason why. And then Odegaard, back from injury, back in the starting 11, and this changes so much. Arsenal with Odegaard is a fundamentally different team. The passing is sharper, the movement is more purposeful, the creativity in the final third, the ability to unlock defenses with one pass comes alive when he's on the pitch. He was rusty against City, understandably, but one game back in his legs and he'll be closer to his best on Saturday. Now, the front three, and this is where I want to slow down, because this is what the video is really about. Left wing, Eberechi Eze. He keeps his place, and honestly, he deserves it. His performance at City, in a game we lost, was one of the few real positives. He was direct, he was brave, he kept going forward even when things weren't working around him. And now, with Odegaard back, Eze doesn't need to carry as much creative responsibility. He can be more of a threat, more of a runner, more of a problem for Newcastle's right side. I'm very comfortable with Eze starting. Striker, Kai Havertz. And yes, I know some of you are already typing Gyökeres in the comments, but hear me out. This game, against a deep, physical, compact Newcastle, is not a game where you need a pure number 9. You need movement. You need intelligence. You need someone who can play in tight spaces and create moments even when service is difficult. Havertz gives you that. He'll drop deep, draw a centre-back with him, and create space for Odegaard and Rice to run into. He'll link, he'll press, he'll make himself a problem in ways that don't always show up in the stats. Gyökeres will get his chance. He might come on in the second half, but for this specific game, I'd start Havertz. And then, right wing, I'm going with Saka. Yes, I said it. Around a month out. Achilles concern, massive risk. I'm starting him. And here's why. Because without Saka on that right side, Newcastle have nothing to worry about on that flank. White can get forward, yes, but Newcastle won't be scared of White in the same way. They won't drop an extra man to deal with him the way they would with Saka. But with Saka, even at 70, 80% fit, everything changes. Defenses shift when Saka gets the ball. Fullbacks drop deeper. Central midfielders track back. Space opens up in other areas. He doesn't even have to be at his best to affect the game. And honestly, I think Arteta knows this. I think that's why, despite the injury concern, he'll take the risk. Now, the caveat. If Saka's body isn't right, Arteta needs to be smart. Don't let him play 60 minutes in pain. Don't let him push through something that could become serious. Have the courage to pull him at halftime if needed. Because one game is not worth the rest of his career. But as a starter, on Saturday, yes, I want him out there. Now here's how I see this game playing out. First 20 minutes, Arsenal will dominate. They'll press high. Odegaard will find pockets. Saka will get on the ball, and Newcastle's fullback will immediately be under pressure. The danger period, 30 to 60 minutes. This is where Newcastle will settle. They'll be more organized. They'll try to frustrate us. And this is where we need Zubimendi and Rice to control the tempo. Don't panic. Don't force it. Keep moving the ball. Keep looking for the moment. The breakthrough, I think it comes from a wide situation. Either Saka cutting inside and finding Odegaard, or Eze getting to the byline and pulling it back for Havertz. And the worry, set pieces. Newcastle are a real aerial threat. And with Raya being uncertain and Gabriel potentially not fully himself, there is a real risk we concede from a corner or a free kick. Best case scenario, Saka lasts 70 minutes, creates 2 chances, Arsenal win 2-0, go above City on goal difference. Worst case, Saka comes off at half-time with a reaction. Newcastle nick a goal from a set piece, we draw or lose, and suddenly, City are favourites. Both scenarios are completely possible. That's what makes this game so nerve-wracking. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. Arsenal have been in this position before, close to the title, full of belief. And then, in the most important moments, something has gone wrong. A result that shouldn't have been lost. A player who breaks down at the wrong time. A tactical decision that doesn't pay off. And I don't say that to be negative. I say it because I think this team, this version of Arsenal under Arteta, is genuinely better than those teams. They're more experienced, more resilient, more mentally ready. But belief doesn't win titles on its own. Execution does. And on Saturday, against Newcastle, Arsenal need to execute. The lineup needs to work. The system needs to function. And the players who've been given the trust to start need to deliver, Saka especially. Because if he goes out there and he's the Saka we know, direct, dangerous, relentless, then Arsenal will win this game. I'm convinced of it. But if he goes out there and you can see the hesitation, the protection of that Achilles, then it becomes a very different afternoon. And I think that's what all of us will be watching from the very first minute. My final stance, Arsenal win this, 2-1. Saka starts and produces a performance that reminds everyone exactly why he's irreplaceable. Odegaard creates 3 clear chances. Rice is everywhere. Newcastle get a consolation late on, but it's not enough. And if that happens, City suddenly feel the pressure because they're watching Arsenal go to the top of the table and they've got their own game to worry about. This title is not over, not even close. But Saturday is massive. I don't think I can overstate that. Every point matters. Every decision matters. Every minute Saka is on that pitch and healthy matters. So here's my question for you before you go, and I want every single one of you to answer this. If Saka breaks down in the first half on Saturday, does Arteta have enough on that bench to win this game? Because I've been thinking about it, and I'm honestly not sure. Drop it in the comments, make your case. I'll respond to as many as I can. Subscribe if you haven't. We'll be back before kickoff with any late team news. Come on, Arsenal, let's do this.